All right, guys, so this is the video I've been promising you guys for a little while now. Because a lot of you are wondering, why is this channel called The Game of Life? And I'm gonna share that with you guys in this video here. My thoughts on this channel and why I named it The Game of Life and why I think that life is a game, okay? I wanna start by saying that something that was insane to me that I read in the book, and it was that there is not any scientific proof that the world was not created 5 minutes ago. Okay, let that sink in because that's insanity. Science cannot prove that the world was created 5 minutes ago. That the world wasn't created 5 minutes ago, I meant. So it is possible that the world was created 5 minutes ago, in other words, okay? It is scientifically possible that the world was created 5 minutes ago, which is crazy, but we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into some pretty deep stuff in this video. It's gonna be quite the journey, okay? I'm excited to take this journey with you guys, to let you guys know how I see life and maybe even, get you to open up and see it in a different kind of way as well. Like, even if it doesn't change your viewpoints, just to open your mind up a little bit and kind of see where I'm coming from when I talk about these kind of things, okay? So also, another thing that science cannot prove is that we are not a brain in a jar that's just imagining this entire thing, okay? Just a brain in a jar somewhere that's just imagining this entire thing, okay? All of this is just our own little video game. So let me explain what I mean by that. It's funny, like there was a girl that I met in Mexico when I was I lived in Playa del Carmen for a few months, and there was a girl that I met there, and she was talking to me about what kind of character I chose to be in this game of life. And I was confused at that time. This was like 6-7 years ago. I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, oh, life is it's just a big game. It's just one large game, and you get to choose who you become. And I was confused by it at the time, and I was like, oh, this girl's crazy, but maybe she was, a lot more enlightened than I was at that time. And I, after that, obviously I went on my, journey of self-development and the seminars and this and that. So now I have some viewpoints on this topic, okay? And why I do believe that life is a game. First of all, based on the couple of scientific facts that I shared with you guys already, right? That it's very possible that it is. There's no science proving that that is not. Nothing. Look for it on the internet, you won't find it, okay? And so just imagine this, okay? The first thing I want you to kind of take into your perception and kind of imagine. Imagine that your eyes are a television or a screen. Maybe what we're seeing is a game that we're inside of from a human's perspective, okay? When you look down, say you're playing a video game, when you look down, you're playing from your perspective and you're controlling the video game character. Now, what about if you're the main character of this video game and you're playing from a point of view standpoint? And not only that, this is the most complex video game you've ever played in your life, because in this video game, you can actually feel things. And that's the main difference between playing a video game with your remote controller, where you're controlling this guy, you don't feel anything for him. You don't feel anything that he goes through. In this game, you look down, you have arms, you have legs, your brain controls it all. I'm not Like my fingers right now, they're moving because my brain is at one with my hands, and they're just moving. We never ask ourselves, why is this happening? Why are my fingers moving now? They're moving because I want them to move, right? And you're like, oh, what's your point? I don't get it. I'm confused now. Okay, good, because we're gonna get a little bit deeper. Okay, so imagine it from that perspective, that you're in your own video game, okay, and you're literally seeing things in a way where everything looks so real. You can touch, you can feel things, you can emotionally feel things. For those of you who have ever played a VR video game, you know how they put those goggles on you. You literally feel like you're in the reality. It's crazy. So what if your eyes were the goggles? And this is just the most real VR game you've ever experienced in your whole life. It is your life. It's called your life. And in this VR game that I'm talking about, which is your life, you get to choose how you show up as a human being, the way you treat people, the things you focus on, the things you prioritize in your life, the things you value, the things you want. You're figuring out this game as you go. Just like everyone else, when you walk down the street, everyone else is trying to figure it out too. They're figuring out what they want to do with this game of life. And we're all in this game together, and nobody knows why exactly we're here. So we're playing this game from our own perspective, but nobody knows why exactly are we on this planet. Are we here just to enjoy our time? Are we here to help each other get through? Are we here to survive? Are we here to thrive? Are we here each individually with a very specific purpose as to why we should be here? Those are all questions that there are no concrete answers to. Let me invite you to think about something else. You know, like there's a lot of things in life that we're just like, oh yeah, that's just life. I'll give you one example. Let's say I pick up my cell phone and I make a call to someone 10,000 miles away. They get a ring instantly. They pick up their phone, they talk into a phone, and they hear me 10,000 miles away. Now, we all think that's such a normal thing. Oh yeah, of course. It's just, and there's an explanation for it, I'm sure. One of you science guys is gonna bring the explanation. You're like, oh, it's because of the radioactive waves and the yada, 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 and this and that. And this is why this person hears me 10,000 miles away when I dial a certain number. He can hear my voice. Really think about that. That's like, if you actually think about it without realizing that it's just like a normal part of life, you'll realize how weird that is. How weird is that? Have you ever thought about that? Have you actually sat for a second and be like, wait a second, I dial this number, I'm talking into this little box, I'm not even talking loud, I can whisper, and they hear me 10,000, 15,000 miles away. How's that possible? It just makes no sense. Okay? Things like that happen in a video game. And like I said, I know there's an explanation for it. I know there is. Like, it's going to be something about the air frequencies and the phone frequencies or the airwaves or whatever it may be. The explanation doesn't even matter. It literally doesn't even matter, because then how do you explain the explanation? Okay, for those of you that do have the explanation for it, and you're like, oh, Jack, it's because of this, this, and that. For those of you who have the concrete explanation for it, how do you explain the explanation? Okay, how does that make sense? It only makes sense is if that reality is kind of just this big video game, this large video game, okay? That we're all in it and we all can play it. And so what I'm saying is that nothing is actually what it seems. And some of you guys might be watching the video, like, Jack has gone crazy. It's quarantine. He's gone insane. He's lost his mind. I haven't lost my mind. Don't worry. I'm very calm. I haven't lost my mind. Okay, I'm very I'm very sane. Okay, I'm just trying to explain to you guys, but I think these are my viewpoints. After doing the reading I've done, and after experiencing life myself. So it's this weird dynamic of, okay, so what if we are in a video game? Okay, Jack. I mean, I'm not sure if we're in a video game or not. I'm not here to, be like, yeah, we're definitely in this. I'm not here to say that. I don't know. I'm just, speculating. I'm just saying, like, what if it's possible? And the reason why it's important is because if we are in the game of life, and this is a game, then from that perspective, this is the most important part of the video, from that vantage point, that you are in a video game and you do control this video game to a certain extent. In this video game, you have a brain, you have thoughts that are sometimes uncontrollable, you have arms, you have legs, you can go do places, you can do whatever you want in this video game. So if you are in this video game, from this vantage point, why would you ever want to watch TV or play a video game ever again? Okay? Can you imagine yourself now playing a video game? Let's say you're playing Grand Theft Auto. Okay, that's one of the games I remember when I was younger. Let's say you're playing the video game and then you're making your character in the video game play a video game. Wouldn't that be weird? That would be so weird. That would be so weird. Like, if you're in a video game, okay, think about that. You're in this video game and you're making the character in your video game play a video game. What's the point of that? Okay? And this is why I'd like to believe that we are playing in this kind of game, and it's a game of life, is because from that vantage point, I think you can really live life to the fullest and minimize your time playing video games, or your time wasted, watching TV. Like, if you're playing a video game, again, you're not going to make your video game character watch TV. You're going to make him go travel the world, meet new people, and do cool things. Like, when you're playing Grand Theft Auto, it's weird because you're doing all kinds of crazy shit. But really, what it comes down to is you really want to, get to a point where you're enjoying life, not watching a screen where other people are enjoying life, or playing a video game where you're doing something else and not immersing your own self into life. Okay? And like, for example, like when I go to my improv classes, when I personally go into those improv classes, it's like I'm in my own little video game. It's so exciting. I don't know what's going to happen next. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. Because you're there and you're just like, whoa, there's fear, there's adrenaline. You're like, this is cool. This is really what life is about. Life is meant to be lived this way, not on a couch. You have so much time. We have so much time in our lives to sit on a couch and watch TV and, play video games and let time pass. And I prefer that time to be like more later on in life, when your body is not functioning the way that you want it to be functioning, and you can't really enjoy some of these beautiful things in life. Like when you ask like 70, like let's say you ask an 80-year-old man, like, what's his biggest regret? He'd probably tell you, probably just not enjoying more of his health and his life when he was younger. And now he's just stuck on the couch watching TV. He's probably sick of watching TV now. He's sick of it. He's just like, God, I wish I had my mobility again so I can get out there and live. Maybe I can get out there and meet new people and travel and do social things. And like, this is a weird, because like, this is weird because I'm making this video in the middle of quarantine. I don't know when I'm going to produce it or post it, but I'm making this video in the midst of quarantine. Okay. So like, obviously you're not going to be able to, you know, immediately do some of these things that I'm talking about, is like to really live, just live life, you know? And, you know, and every time I make these videos, I want to be clear that I'm not just preaching to everyone that's watching these videos. I'm actually talking to myself as well when I'm making these videos. I'm talking, but I'm also listening. It's like the weirdest dynamic I can ever imagine. I am talking, but I'm also listening to my own advice. Like I'm saying things, but then I can also hear the things that I'm saying. So it's like, it's crazy. It's actually crazy to think about when you start to realize that. You know, right now I'm talking and I don't even know what I'm talking about. It's like I'm in this new dimension. I'm in this new dimension of world where I don't even know what I'm gonna say next, but I'm just talking and my mouth is moving and things are happening. And then my insides are listening like, oh, what's going on here? Now things are getting really weird, right? Things are getting really weird there. That's a really weird thing to think about, you know? Like a lot of people, like maybe in a social situation, you know, somebody might be like, oh, I'm meeting this new person for the first time. What should I say? I don't know. Go and just be. Right? Go and just be. Just say whatever comes to mind. Like just be. You know, when you're in the present moment, you don't have to think as much. You just kind of talk. And everything flows and it makes a lot of sense. Everything is smooth. And, you know, that's the only way I'm able to make these videos for and preach about these topics for as long as I do, is because when I'm making these videos, I get so immersed into the present moment and so immersed in what I'm talking about that I don't have a second to think or go in my mind and think about anything. There's no thinking. It's just, I'm just telling you, you know, some of the things, and I'm sharing with you some of the things that are on my mind. I just need the topic to begin with, and then from there it just kind of free flows, okay? And that's important too, because in a video game, let's say we are in the video game like we talked about before, then everything just makes sense. Because in a video game, we are what we believe and we are what we make ourselves do. So like, let's say for example, you're playing the Grand Theft Auto, let's use for example again. You're using a remote controller and you make the guy, nice. Maybe you make him nice. Maybe like you probably can't do that in Grand Theft Auto. I'm just, but whatever. You're playing Grand Theft Auto. You make the guy actually a nice person, a kind person. He says hello to his neighbors. Hey, how's it going? You know, this and that. He does a lot of good deeds. He's just a wonderful guy to be around. You know, he makes a lot of friends. He's just a social, outgoing guy. That's just who you chose your character to be in the Grand Theft Auto. But now coming back to this game of life, you can choose to be that character as well. Okay, if you really, really wanted to be that guy, that's who you can be. And then if you're, for example, you make your character do terrible things in the video game, let's say for example, you can actually do that in life too. So that's where things get a little bit tricky, okay? Things get a little bit tricky when you think about that. And we've gone pretty deep here, okay? It's been a short video so far, not even 20 minutes, and we've gone pretty deep here. I feel like we've gone deep here because I feel like I'm having like a spiritual awakening here, okay? And some of you might watch this video and you might think to yourself like, I don't know, Jack's crazy. He doesn't know, what was this guy talking about? I have no idea, okay? Fair enough, okay? Fair enough. I'm not trying to push my viewpoints onto you. I'm not trying to convince you that we're 100% in a game and this is not reality and it's all like kind of a virtual reality that we're kind of imagining. But it's just something interesting to think about. And it actually, at the end of the day, it doesn't really change anything if we are like in a VR kind of setting, or if we're actually in a reality, kind of a physical reality that actually exists, or if we're maybe just some video game characters that are being controlled by like aliens from outer space. Like, who knows, that's just like a crazy a theory. But all I'm saying is that it's possible, all right? And I think it's just kind of cool to think about that it's possible. This is not something I really, like, I make it sound like it's something I ponder on like a daily basis. I don't think about these things at all, to be honest with you. It's just like when I'm reading a few books and I'm coming across like some things, I'm like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense to me. And Elon Musk is one that actually talks about this more than anybody. He's very, very convinced that we are in a simulated reality, so that this is not real, and we're in some VR kind of video game and a simulation. That's what he calls it. He says the chances that we are in a base physical reality, Elon Musk, coming out of Elon Musk's mouth, he says is 1 out of 1,000,000 to him. 1 out of 1,000,000 that we are in a base reality, and that everything is real, and everything is what it seems. So I thought that was interesting, and he talks about like just pondering this kind of stuff like during like his hot tub sessions. He says he goes into the jacuzzi, and this is the stuff he thinks about, or this is the stuff he talks about. And I just thought it was interesting and fascinating. And the reason why I personally want to believe that this is a game of life is because if we do believe that it's a game, this is at the core of why I want to believe it is. I don't care if it is or not. I have no attachment to that. I don't care at all, and I don't think it matters much at all. But if you do believe that you're in a game of life, then what happens is that you realize that you can control your character, which is you. Okay? So if you can control your character, which is yourself, you're controlling yourself, you get to decide who you want to be, how you want to show up in this world, then that's really powerful. It's really empowering to know that you can be who you want to be, and like Tom Bilyeu says, Tom Bilyeu is one of my favorite people that I follow, and he talks about how he thinks humans are almost limitless, not limitless. We're not limitless, okay? We are not limitless, but we're almost limitless. And that human potential is so far beyond what we can grasp in our minds. Human potential is so far beyond where we think it is. And we can do so much more, and we can be so much more, and we can give so much more, and we can feel so much more, gratitude and all these beautiful things. Because at the end of the day, we do control what we focus on, and focusing on things that can empower you and things that can benefit your life and those around you. Those are what you want to do and where you want to be. So if you guys have any thoughts on this video, I know this is one of the weirdest videos I've made, because it goes very deep into spirituality and a deep thinking video. I would say that I hope I provoked you to think a little bit. That's all I really wanted to do, just to kind of make you think like, that's interesting, and that might be enough for this video. This video is not meant for you to actually take something very specific that you learned from it. It's just like something that makes you ponder, like, maybe we are in this kind of game of life, and that means I should probably take more advantage of my life and, live more and do less things that involve surfing the internet and playing video games and being on the couch all the time and watching TV. And those things you can still do, but maybe minimize them and maybe live a little bit more. Take that dream vacation you've been wanting to take, or, you know, go out and do things that are gonna make you feel things. Because in this video game, it's kind of cool that you can feel things, you know? Feeling things is wonderful. That's one of the beauties in life, is that you can feel things, okay? So yeah, I hope you guys got something out of this video. If you guys have anything to add or say or anything, or you're like, if you have to tell me that, Jack, I think you're nuts, put that in the comments, you know? I'm happy to read comments like that too. Jack, you're crazy. This beard is getting to your mind. Shave it off, you know? Whatever you guys want to say, like whatever you guys want to share. Or if you think like that reality is a game, or if you think reality is not a game, whatever it is, share your viewpoints. You know, I'm curious to hear what you have to think, and because like I said, I'm not firmly on anything here. I just like, and it's not even that I really actually think that reality is a game. I'm not sure. I just want, or choose, let's say, I choose to believe that it is, because it just empowers me, and it makes me feel like I should really, you know, take full advantage of life and live in the best way possible, you know, and yeah, and that's it. And let me know what you guys think here. And very curious to hear some thoughts on this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.